What's going on, folks? I am Family Agent on another episode of Sneakers and Real Estate. Two of my favorite things that I love to talk about. If you guys follow me, you know that I big sneakerhead. I wear them, collect them. The ones that I buy that I don't wear, I end up selling them off. Um, so there you have it. Also a real estate broker for the past 21 years. You guys know I'm always out in the field selling houses, listing them, helping buyers fulfill their dreams. So we're gonna get right into it because I don't want to take up too much time. I got my esteemed guest here. Today we're going to be talking about the Jordan 5, the DJ Khaled's the We the Best. Story behind this shoe. These dropped back in November, about a few months ago. DJ Khaled dropped two colors. He dropped the Sail and also the Crimson, which is the ones that look orange. Those came out on a bunch of sites. These were a little bit more exclusive. Me personally, out of the two, I like these better. You can look on the bottom, you can tell that I actually wore these. Um, this to me looks and feels like a Easter sneaker. These actually came with four pairs of laces, and the leather on these actually are premium leather. So these are pretty dope. You have the quilted inners, which reminds me of the Alma Maneas. But this is a really dope shoe. The colorway is really nice. Summertime is here, so this is a really nice shoe for you to wear now. Or if you want to hold them and wear them next Easter, you can also do that. But really, really dope shoe. Like I said, the colors for me uh, remind me of a Easter shoe, and really dope on the inserts. It also says keep in here, says going in here. You have the We the Best logo on the back, and on the other pair you have the Nike at the OGs. So definitely a dope shoe. Like I said, as far as the quality, they definitely use some premium leather on these, so you definitely need to grab yourself a pair. Not too bulky on the outside. They definitely made these a lot more slimmer. So, like I said, out of the two that did drop, I personally like these better. So if you could find a pair, you definitely need to grab yourselves a pair. Um, as far as real estate, not really too much has been uh, not too much has changed in the last couple of weeks. Right now, the interest rates are looking about 6.8 for a 30-year mortgage. You can also go 5.79 for a 5/1 ARM, which is a adjustable rate mortgage. So you definitely have a lot of different ways that you can go as far as the mortgages are concerned. If you ask me anytime if when is a good time to buy, I'm always going to tell you now. But it also depends on the payments. As long as you can afford the payments, I would always recommend that you buy. Because at the end of the day, folks, you're going to be paying somebody's mortgage. So it's either you're paying your mortgage or you're paying your landlord's mortgage. So if you're in a position where you can pay your own mortgage, I would always suggest that you do that. It just makes more sense, from a tax perspective. All the benefits that comes with that. Having your own space, nobody being able to knock on your door and tell you that you got to move in the next 30 or 60 days. So if you're in a position that you can afford it, now definitely is a great time. Not a lot of inventory. It's not as bad as it was maybe about a year and a half ago, where you had a crazy bidding war going on. Houses were going 100,000 over ask, 200,000 over ask. I actually know in some situations. So you don't have a lot of that going on right now. So you get to beat all of that competition. So you definitely want to try to get out in the market. If you're not sure what direction to go in, you can definitely reach out to me, and I'm here to help. Um, now I want to jump right into it and welcome my guest. I don't know if we are going to call you Remo or we're just going to call
Remo.
you NYC, huh?
Remo.
Remo
Yeah,
or NYC Equities.
Remo, we call it Remo.
Remo.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm happy to have you here. Thank you for taking out the time to sit down with us.
Yeah.
Um, so wanted to jump right into it. So who is Remo or NYC Equities, as people know you as on
Yeah. Well,
online?
thank you for having me here. I really appreciate having me over, and I love the real estate and sneakers.
Thank you, man.
Podcast. I've been watching some of them online.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
One in particular I really like is Jude
Oh, okay.
from the Brooklyn Bank.
Right.
He always dropping some gems. So
Every single time.
yeah,
he is.
it really helps. So I like that one, and also the lady. I think she's called the Short Sale Queen.
Yes. Oh, Melissa, yeah.
Yeah, really, giving a good insight into the short sale industry.
Into the whole process, right?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but my name is Remo Foss, and I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And I've always been an entrepreneur from a young age. I'm
Okay.
always been about buying and selling, making a dollar here, or if I was in England, I'll be making a pound.
Nice.
So I've been into entrepreneurship for a while.
Okay.
And when I moved to New York, I ended up falling into real estate maybe 2 or 3 years after moving into New York. And
Okay.
I focused myself into being a real estate investor
Right.
and purchasing multifamily buildings.
Okay.
And then from there, I moved on to purchasing mixed use buildings.
Okay. So with the real estate, how long have you been in it? How many years would you say now?
Over 10 years. So I've
Over
been in
10
it for
years,
over
okay.
10 years. I first closed on my first deal in 2012.
Okay.
So there's a bigger story to that first property,
Okay.
but we can come back around to that later.
Okay.
So been investing in real estate for over 10 years. I got my real estate license as an agent 5 years ago.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I'm involved in 2 retail businesses. I opened 2 retail businesses in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
Nice.
One is called Happy Cork.
Okay.
That's a wine and spirit store located in Bed-Stuy.
Okay.
And we have the largest selection of black-owned wines and spirits in the country. So
Nice.
for anyone that's out there, really, I suggest come into the store, take a look, but there's some quality products in there.
Nice.
And then I have another business called Happy Buds, and that's in Bed-Stuy as well. And that is a CBD wellness store. So
Oh, nice. Okay.
it's really good for the community because we get to help a lot of issues such as people sleeping, people's anxiety,
Right.
and dealing with their pain and whatnot. So that's what I've been involved in, and that's why I say I'm an entrepreneur. And
But you're a jack of all trades, pretty
jack
much.
of all trades.
Okay.
And those businesses probably wouldn't have come around without, they wouldn't have been around without real estate. They all came about through real estate.
Oh, wow. Okay. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that goes back to what everybody always says, your network.
Yeah.
Your net worth. Your network. Yeah. It
Yeah.
all kind of goes together.
Yeah, so I got involved in that. But circling back to the real estate, I got into real estate because I just didn't want to keep paying rent.
Okay.
I
Goes
moved-
back to what I was just saying just now.
Yeah, I didn't want to keep paying rent. I moved to New York. I've got salary, and I'm seeing every month my this rent being taken away from my salary. So I was
Right.
thinking, how am I gonna work this out? Because
Right.
I can't keep doing that for the rest of my entire life.
Right.
So I thought, I was living in Harlem at the time, and I thought, let me get a 3-bedroom condo, a 3-bedroom apartment, and I can rent out 2 bedrooms.
And keep the other bedroom for yourself.
Yeah, I'll keep the bedroom for myself.
Because you didn't need too much space.
Yeah, I thought let me get the 3 bedrooms, and I'll live in one, probably maybe pay $400 a month. I was hoping that's what I was aiming for.
Right.
So that's where my mind was in real estate. But fast forwards, I ended up meeting my wife, Sunshine, and
Shout out to Sunshine.
yeah, shout out to Sunshine, and she brings me to Brooklyn, and I'm invited over to Brooklyn to her auntie's house. So we're eating, and I'm hearing a door slam, and I'm hearing people walking up the stairs.
Right.
So I was like, what's going on
on?
with the door? The door keeps slamming. What's happening?
Right.
And she's like, oh, that's my tenants going upstairs. So I was like, yeah, tenants. I thought this was, I thought this was a space for us to walk upstairs. She's
Right.
like, no. At the top floor, there's one apartment, and in the middle floor, there's another apartment.
And she lived on the lower level.
She lived on the lower level.
Okay.
So I said, so how, I kind of delved in. I was like, how much are they paying you?
Right.
And the good thing is she was open about it, and she was giving me details
Nice.
of the ins
Very
and outs.
forthcoming with the
Yeah,
information.
she really was.
Nice.
So she said, I get X, Y, and Z from the top floor. I get this, that, and the other from the middle floor. And I live here rent-free. And I probably, I'm bringing in an extra $1,500 a month.
Nice.
So it was a light bulb moment for me, because in the UK, to my knowledge, I've never heard of the multifamily, the 3 families where you can do that, 2, 3, 4 families.
What do you guys have in the UK? More flats, right?
It's flats. We call it flats, but it's not to the point where someone just outright owns the entire building, and
okay.
you have another apartment above, and such and so on.
Right.
So, or you have maybe some more sort of SROs in England, but not the.
Oh, you have SROs in England. I didn't even know
they'll
that.
call them sort of tenement buildings, but they
Okay.
don't really exist as much. They were more in the sort of 70s, 80s.
Got it.
So having that conversation with her auntie gave me a whole different idea, a concept of how I could get into real estate. So it was like a light bulb moment, and I thought, let me get a 3 family.
Right.
She told me she got hers in 2002. She bought it for around 200,000.
Same year I got my license, 2002. Yeah.
So I thought, great, I'm gonna go. Let me get pre-approved,
Right.
and I'll find a 3-family for 250,000.
Right.
That's where my head
That's what
was.
you had in your mind.
250,000. So I went to Chase Bank, and they gave me a budget of 300,000.
Okay.
And then I'm on Zillow, and I'm seeing prices at 500, 600s, but I'm also seeing prices at 200, 300.
300. You wanted to know what the difference was.
Yeah, and that's when you start really trying to get an idea and getting your pulse on the real estate market. So I'm thinking, right, I'm gonna buy something for 250,000, the same as my wife's auntie,
Right.
and I'm gonna start doing the same
thing that she's doing.
Yeah. Once I get out there, those 200 and 250,000
Didn't really exist.
They didn't exist. They're on Zillow, but it didn't really exist.
Right.
They were short sale properties.
Right.
And when I was showing up, there was just real heavy investors that were really paying all cash. So
Right.
I was kind of bummed out. And then I went back to Chase, and they said, you're going to have to work. You can give yourself another year, another 2 years, because I was still new in the country, and
Right.
I didn't really have a long credit history.
Right.
And I had to go back to the drawing board. So I had to sit out for another 2 years and really get my money together.
Right. So that you could get pre-approved for
Yeah,
more.
so I could get pre-approved. But this time, the second time, I didn't go back to Chase. I went to one of the mortgage brokers.
Oh, okay.
And they were a bit more lenient with the restrictions. It wasn't as restricted.
They're not as restricted
Yeah.
because the banks only usually have like one program.
One program. I didn't know that until I got, until I started speaking to
Different people probably.
Yeah.
Right.
And then from there, I got a much higher pre-approval. I think it was around 600.
Oh, good. Okay.
And then
Now you're really in the game.
I'm in the game. I felt good. And my first deal actually fell through. It was through a family member, and it was a 4-story brownstone in
Wow.
Bed-Stuy for 400,000.
Wow.
Yeah, 400,000, and it was 5 units.
Nice.
Now the 5 units brought me into a whole different world.
Right.
Yeah, it brought me into commercial.
Commercial,
real estate.
anything more than 4 units.
So I was being told you need 25 to 30%, but I had around that sort of 25%. I saved it up.
Right.
But long story short, the deal didn't work out. There was too many moving parts. It didn't work out.
Okay, got it.
And then I would say maybe 2 months later, I'm back out there looking for another building, and I actually find a nice building, a nice 4-story brownstone in Bed-Stuy, and it was in the 6s.
Okay.
And it was on, I found it on Craigslist.
You did?
Yeah, I
you.
found most of my buildings on Craigslist.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I get to the building, I check it out, and it's a 4-story brownstone. It ticks all the boxes. I know I can rent these floors, live in it.
3 units and keep one floor for yourself. Keep the lower level and the basement for yourself.
That was it. So that's what I did. Me and my wife moved in. We closed on that deal. That closing took us around, I think 6 months. It wasn't fast.
Wow, that was a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time. It was probably the longest deal. But we got an interest of around 3.75%. We moved in, and we kind of house hacked within the house because the building itself wasn't renovated.
Right.
It was living. You could live in it. So
Right.
we lived in one floor, and then we fixed up, then moved to the next floor, and
Right.
then rented out.
Nice.
But the building, we did inherit a tenant with the building.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So it was a good deal at the time as well. But we took on a tenant, and that was my first deal in real estate. That's what got me into real estate. And
nice. I think it also made you comfortable because going into it, you know that you had a certain amount of income coming in from that tenant that'll help you offset the mortgage.
Yeah, this is it. I'm going to stop there and let me get involved in maybe some other kind of business. Maybe, around that time, the Facebook movie came out. So you watch the Facebook movie and you think, I could make a Facebook.
Right.
I could do this. I could do that. But then I started to realize after reading that, everyone's read that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, I started to see how, how this
different people think.
Yeah, it changed the mechanics in my head of how what kind of asset I've purchased and how it can help me. So I stayed in that building for maybe 2 years, and everyone kept telling me, you can pull equity out, you can do this, you could pull the equity out and
go do something else or buy another building.
I didn't quite get it.
Right.
But then I found out when you pull the equity out, once you pull the equity out of the building, your mortgage goes up.
It goes up. Right.
So I was like, nah.
I don't want to do that. I'm trying to pay it down.
I like this rent roll. I like this cash flow.
Right.
But after reading that book, it kind of was another light bulb moment to where it's like, yeah, you can pull that equity out and you could rinse and repeat and do it again and buy another property.
Right.
And that's what I did.
Nice. Smart.
And that brings me to the story of me getting into mixed-use buildings, because I was so fixated on buying 3 families that I wanted to
Expand?
I wanted to expand, but 3 families now they were way higher than what I'm.
Than what you paid, of course. 2 years later.
And don't forget, I just gone from thinking I could get something for 200,000 to
500 or 600, right?
yeah. But the 5 or 6, I didn't call it 5 or 600. I called it $500,000. To me, it was like
Right.
I paid half a million.
That's what, yeah, right.
I paid half a
Any way that
million.
you slice it.
Yeah, and now the 3 families like 900,000.
Wow.
So I go back on Craigslist, and I find a mixed-use building, and that mixed-use building had a liquor store at the bottom,
Nice.
and it had 2 units at the top.
Right.
And I contacted the guy. The guy was from Jamaica, and he's been living in New York for 20 years. But it was that time where he wants
was
to
ready to
sell.
go.
He's ready to go back to Jamaica. So
Nice.
I get on my bike. I'd probably just finished playing basketball. I seen it on my phone. I seen Craigslist on my phone. I call the guy. I get an appointment immediately.
Nice.
I cycle over there. I lock my bike up, and I'm in shorts, t-shirt, and I've got the basketball in my hand. And he's outside waiting for me.
Right. And you're looking very unassuming, too.
Yeah, and he's looking at who's this guy?
Who's this
Can't be
kid?
him. I said, Trevor? And he goes, yeah, it's me. And I said, it's me, Remo. I'm here to look at the building. And he kind of rolled his eyes at me as if,
This guy's coming here to waste my time.
yeah. So we go in, and we're looking up and down the building. I'm going up and down the building. I check the liquor store. I check the apartments. And I'm going to inherit the liquor store tenant, and I'll inherit the top floor tenant. And in the middle is vacant.
Okay.
So I'm like,
So you could live there, like you said, house hack again.
yeah, I could. Well, this one I didn't have to live there because it was a commercial. This one fell into the commercial
Commercial
real estate.
zone, right.
And I already been through the ringer
Right.
with trying to get the 5-unit building from prior before. So
Prior.
the good thing is I had contacts from reaching out to so many commercial lenders.
Right.
So I didn't have to live in it, and I knew that this is going to be purely for rents.
Right.
So I eventually put in an offer, and I think, wearing the clothes that I had, I actually think it went in my favor because he knocked off around 20,000 off of the.
Oh, he did?
Ask. Yeah,
Good for you.
He knocked off the 20,000.
Nice.
Maybe it's because he saw I was younger at the time, and
Maybe he felt bad for you.
Yeah, he maybe felt bad for me. So I got
Right.
20,000 off, and I closed on that deal. And as soon as I closed, the liquor store stopped paying me. They stopped paying
Wow.
me. Yeah, they did. They stopped. But I kind of, in the back of my head, I knew that I had a feeling that could happen. So I
Right.
already calculated. I was already
Smart.
thought,
Smart.
if this happens, I'm ready for it.
Right.
And eventually, we ended up. We stopped paying, so we got them evicted.
Okay.
But that eviction probably took nearly a year.
Really?
Yeah, a year. So
So now you're into a building a year with no rent.
no rent, and then the next year is I want to rent the place out. I want to play landlord with that building. I want to rent the place out.
Right.
So a year goes by and not one person rents that. They don't want to rent it.
Really?
And I have it for $1,500 a month. It's not extortionate.
It's not it's a decent price, yeah.
It's decent price. No one wanted it, and then it was one night my wife was saying, "Listen, we cannot leave this place vacant." I'm
Right.
like, I don't want to leave it vacant, but I'm not getting anyone in. So
Right.
she was like, "Why don't we do another liquor store?" I'm like, "Cool, let's do the liquor store." So
Right.
that's how Happy Court came around. And
Really?
yeah, that's how it was. We kind of fell into that.
Right.
But we really wanted to focus on getting in wines and spirits from our community, and also teach our community about the various wines.
Right.
And we wanted it to be nice for people to walk in. We didn't want the bulletproof glass.
Right.
We just wanted that nice vibe.
That nice feel, right?
Yeah, so we really got connected with a lot of different vendors across the US that
Nice.
weren't really getting the time of day in other liquor stores.
Right.
And we
For
decided,
obvious reasons.
yeah, so we brought those in, and the first year was hard because everyone knows their brand names. Everyone likes their Hennessy's.
Right.
They like their different type of vodkas,
Right.
their Smirnoffs and whatnot. So it took us a while to really get the community to say, hey, you should buy this cognac or you should get this vodka.
Right.
And
But we're so used to, like you said, we're so used to the brands that we know, and the black-owned ones you don't really know or you haven't heard of so much,
yeah,
right?
so that was it was a process, but it was well worth it. And, along came the pandemic, which had a lot of people sitting at home not knowing what to do. And one of the...
But lucky for you, you guys you
Yeah.
were part of the essential list.
Yes, we were part of the essential list, so we stayed open, and it was a crazy year, and it really blew up with
Nice.
Within the black community as well, with
Nice.
Black Lives Matter, and then we also got a ton of these black-owned brands on our top shelves.
Nice.
So people are coming in the store, really supporting, and
Nice.
we really took off.
Nice.
So that's how that that happened.
How the liquor store actually came about.
Yeah, and it's been going well ever since, and we were looking to expand. So
Nice.
we were looking to expand, and we were like, let's do a rinse and repeat. Let's do another one. So I was on the hunt to buy another mixed use property,
Right.
and
the first two properties that you have, the first one that you bought, the 4-family, and the mixed use, the second one, you bought both of those. I know it was off of Craigslist. They were both by owner. You didn't deal with it.
no, I didn't deal with the realtors.
Wow, nice.
And some of that was me. I guess it worked in my favor, but I wasn't really educated in some ways.
About the whole process.
Yeah, I thought if I use a real, I came with a bit of a frugal mentality coming from England, so I thought if I use a realtor, I'm gonna have to pay this guy, and that wasn't necessarily the case.
Right.
So that's where my mind was. Like, I'm not gonna use a realtor. Let me go out and find my
and deal with them
stuff.
direct.
And I dealt with them direct.
Right.
And little did I know at that time that did work in my favor for what I was doing.
Right.
So I try and do it again, and this time I'm aggressive. I'm wearing a black T-shirt everywhere saying I buy homes for cash. I'm wearing it everywhere. That's my outfit.
That's your outfit. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm coming out of Home Depot, and someone sees a T-shirt and he goes, "You buy a home for cash?" I said, "Yeah, I buy homes for cash."
Talk to me.
I don't really have the cash, but I know how to get. I know how to.
I'll figure it out. Right, yeah.
So he goes, "There's a building on Malcolm X. A guy he wants rid of it." So I said, "Can I get the number?" So I get the number, and I call the guy, and he says, "Take it or leave it. It's going to be X, Y, and Z. It's going to be this amount."
Right.
And this was a 4-story building, another 4-story where it had 4 bedrooms.
Right.
And a retail space at the bottom.
At the bottom. Oh, nice. Okay.
Retail space at the bottom. And the number he was asking for, I couldn't hit it. Plus, it came with difficult tenants. So I left it. I fell back and continued looking.
Right.
And this is now, we're going into the pandemic, and everything's going well with Happy Cork.
Right.
And my wife's, telling us to, we're still looking for a place.
Right.
So she's walking down Malcolm X, and she calls me. She says, "Yeah, there's a really nice building here. It's the building where I found the sign for Happy Cork."
Okay.
I said, "What building? Let me drive over and see what you're looking at." I said, "Oh, I spoke to this guy on the phone a couple of years ago. I spoke to this guy on the phone.
That's the guy that gave you the number you couldn't touch."
I said, "But he's not having it, and he's not feeling me. He's not feeling it." I said, "Give him a call, because you might get on better with him."
Maybe a different, right.
Yeah. She calls him, and he was more receptive to Sunshine.
He was.
So really, Sunshine connected us and got that conversation going.
Nice.
So in a day or two, he invited us over, and we get in the building, and the building's huge. It stretches back maybe 65, 70 feet.
Nice. When you went with Sunshine, did he know that it was you that reached out?
Never,
okay. You didn't say anything. Okay.
All he had was my accent.
He didn't connect the dots.
He didn't get it. So we were negotiating. We figured out. We met in the middle, and he was also kind of a bit shaken with the pandemic, and he had enough, and he wanted to go back to. I think he was from Barbados. He wanted to go back to Barbados.
Right.
So fast forward, we get into contract, and we ended up closing on that property in May. Actually, on Malcolm X's birthday.
Really?
Yeah, and on the side we've got a mural that has Malcolm X on it.
Wow.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that mural's not there anymore because there was some damage, water damage. So
water damage. But okay.
We're definitely going to find someone that can redo that mural.
It. Okay.
Yeah, it represents Malcolm X. So we really want to put that on there. But that's how Happy Buds came about.
Nice.
And what I like with those deals is that I do like being in control, to where I've seen a lot of businesses get into a lease,
right,
and they start being successful 5-7 years later, and then the landlord's like, let me raise your rent by an extra $2,000 or $3,000.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I'm on the side to where I can control that rent that I'm paying.
Right.
So I moving forward, that's what I'm going to be doing when we expand our businesses across the United States.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I like that approach, mixing the real estate in and also having the retail at the bottom of the stores.
Nice. Okay.
So
you feel like that creates a balance for you as far as cash flow, or what's your thought process on that?
The thought process is cash flow. I've got an asset. So I've got cash flow, I've got an asset, and I've got control. That's 3 things that tick boxes that I really like.
Right.
And then it also gives me, is also an opportunity there for me to expand and bring in other investors to not only get involved in real estate, they can also possibly get involved and be partners within our business.
With the business.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's where I'm thinking of that. And that's how those businesses were. That's
nice.
how those businesses got funded from me getting involved in real estate back in 2012.
Nice. So what do you feel when you look at the real estate market now compared to how it was when you first got started? What do you see as the difference
The difference
for you?
for me, the difference is the interest rate.
Okay.
It's kind of like it's definitely tougher to it's tougher because of the interest rate, but I actually kind of like having that high interest rate because I know how the interest rates work in terms of all of the homes I've bought. They're either 25 years or 30-year mortgages,
Right.
and there's maybe only two that I haven't refinanced, and the others I have. So I know at some point I could get a really good deal,
Right.
get in at high interest rate, but it's very unlikely I'm going to stick with that interest rate for
Because
10
you can
years.
always, like you say, you can always refinance once the market gets better. And that's what I try to tell people.
So that's where my head is at. And again, remember I said my wife's auntie had got a place in 2002 for around 200,000.
Right.
Well, when I got to it 10 years later, it was 500,000,
Right.
600,000.
Right.
Now it's about a million.
Now over a
change
million.
Over.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. It's the same with, you got people sitting on the sidelines thinking real estate is just too expensive. I'm sitting on the sidelines thinking Bitcoin's too expensive because I hear people's stories when they got in at, $2,000.
Right.
Now it's
30,000.
Yeah.
Right.
And it went up to 60, so it fluctuates up and down. You got to figure out when is the right time to get in. Does it work for me? And also you need to find out what is your why.
Right.
Why do you want to get into real estate? Mine was, I don't want to pay rent anymore.
Right.
So you need to figure that out and figure what makes sense for you in the long run. And whether the real estate goes up or down, I would pretty much say in the long run, that real estate is going to go up. Your asset
It's always going to be worth more at the end of the day. At the end of it, what you paid for it, what it's worth then compared to what you paid for it.
Exactly. So
and I try to tell people that all the time.
2008 wasn't a disaster.
Yeah, it was.
For those that
I lived through it.
Exactly. So those that held it. Those that were able to hold it, that price looks like nothing now.
Yeah.
Those prices were the 500 or 600 or 400.
Right.
Now they're like, Bed-Stuy, you're looking at between 1.5 and 2 something million.
Yeah, because my dad it's funny that you talk about Bed-Stuy so much. I actually used to live on Lexington Avenue between Lewis and Marcus Garvey. I'm
where?
Lexington Avenue between Lewis and Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm from Brooklyn.
Now.
Yeah, I'm from, I'm born in Brooklyn. So my dad had a bunch of brownstones back in the early 90s, late 80s, and he had so many problems, the same thing that you did. He had a lot of problems with a lot of the tenants.
Yep.
He ended up giving up a lot of those buildings, and then, he lives in Connecticut now. Every time when he comes up here and I take him there, he wants to shoot himself. He wants to kick himself.
Yeah.
Because it was just too much going on at the time for him to sort of hang in there.
It's not easy to see real estate either. It's
not.
hard to predict. So it's really hats off to anyone that held it all the way through. But I did get a good insight from being around Sunshine's auntie. And if I'll be honest, she was really like my mentor.
Oh, good.
Definitely. And then I also had other people around me where I could hearing the stories where, I wish I got this brownstone in Harlem.
Right.
Because I was living in Harlem at the time.
At the time, I remember you said.
And, they were saying, I think it was in Bill Clinton was in office. They were saying around that time the brownstones were, I wasn't there at that time, but I think they were saying there was deals around 80,000 or 200.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I don't want to be that person that misses out on that deal.
Yeah, because Dougie Fresh had a bunch of brownstones there in Harlem at the time when Bill Clinton was coming in. As soon as he came in, or everybody got wind that he was coming in, you noticed the difference and you noticed the shift.
Yeah, so, I took that into consideration. And then I think one of the other things I keep hearing, I think one of the other things that benefited me was not being from New York.
Right.
I didn't have any history of, Bed-Stuy, this happens with Bed-Stuy, or the East New York, because I've invested in East New York as well. So
I used to live in East New York.
Yeah, I didn't have the thing where, don't go down to Pitkin Ave, it's going to be this, that, and the other.
Right.
I was like, that multifamily makes sense, I'm buying it.
Right.
And that's...
Which is smart, and it's good that I think for you, like you said, not being from here, being from the UK, you didn't have anybody that could sort of sway you from doing something. This is going to be the next big thing, or that's horrible.
Yeah.
For you, it's about the numbers.
It wasn't. I actually had one of my housewarming in the first property, and that house is it's actually near Marcy Projects. So I had people that were from Bed-Stuy, and they were like, "Yo, you sure? Are you sure?" Because they're talking to me like, "I know you're not from here, but you're right next to Marcy."
Right.
I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, Marcy Jay-Z." And I'm like, "Oh." Then I was like, "Man, it was fine. The area was coming up anyway."
Right.
And I felt comfortable there. The culture, I loved New York. I loved that area.
Right.
So it made sense.
Right.
So, yeah, real estate is really helped me move forward and be able to sort of really get involved in my entrepreneurial spirit
Nice.
and get involved in other businesses, not just real estate.
Nice. How is the you said the other business is Happy Buds?
Yeah, Happy Buds.
Okay. How's that going? And when did you get started with that?
We got started in December 2021, and that was we were really looking to expand Happy Cork, and we were gonna do another liquor store and expand,
Right.
but it made sense to move into something else, keep the same sort of branding, Happy Cork, Happy Buds,
Right.
and it's something my wife's always wanted to do. She's really involved in CBD and in the cannabis industry,
Nice.
and that's something that really makes her tick.
Nice.
So it was kind of an easy layup for her, and it was a case of me getting the building and then getting her in there and furnishing the place and making it look beautiful. And again, I keep mentioning Craigslist because a lot of stuff I've probably made my living off of Craigslist.
Off Craigslist, right?
We've got furniture off Craigslist. We've
Wow.
got virtually probably 70% in both Happy Cork and Happy Buds is furnishings from Craigslist.
Nice.
So I like Happy Buds as well. We get involved a lot with the community, and
Nice.
it's kind of like both spots are kind of like a barber shop to where people come in, feel
Nice.
comfortable talking about
Right.
their ups and downs.
Right. And whatever's going on in the neighborhood, and
whatever's
also what's
in the
going on with them.
community, It's really good. So, and we get to help them with certain issues, and some of the things I mentioned before is sleep. Sleep is probably one of our biggest sellers is gummies for sleep, for pain, people that are dealing with pain,
Right.
especially within the elderly community. And then also, there's a lot of people that have anxiety, and
Right.
that really can take down people's anxiety as
It
well.
definitely can.
Even myself, I have a bit of, even coming here, I had a bit of anxiety coming on
Really?
the pod. Yeah, a little bit, because I'm not so used to being on the camera. But yeah, it's nice to have maybe a bit of CBD that can sort of just taper it down.
taper it
and then
down,
get
right.
you in the swing of things.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you too, because I tell people all the time, I hate to hear my voice.
Yeah.
Even when I'm doing these podcasts and you're speaking, I hate to hear myself. But at the end of the day, when you have good information or valuable information
Yeah.
that you're trying to project out to the world, it's just something that you have to do, and you just kind of you don't think about those other things, or you don't think about whatever your fears are. It's like,
Yeah.
let me conquer them and just get out there and just get it done.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to feel uncomfortable and conquer them. And
Yes.
then that's why I mentioned before. That's why I mentioned Jude from Brooklyn Bank.
Mhm.
He puts a lot of information out there, and some of it really sinks in. There's certain things that he's left out there that's helped me in real estate. in
Right. Shout out to
general.
Zoot. Shout out to
it's
Jude.
Really, really helpful.
What's up, Brooklyn Bella?
So
Yeah.
the more people that can do that, and I haven't really done that so much in social media, but eventually I'll get to doing it. But the more the people that can do that, I'm pretty sure they're going to inspire other people to get involved
Of course.
in real estate.
Of course, because
So-
when you see people doing certain things, and you see people that look like you
Yeah.
doing something that you want to do or you aspire to do, I think it makes it a little bit easier. You know, you have so many people that are doing it, and you're trying to figure out which ones are the authentic ones and which ones aren't. When you figure out the authentic ones,
Yep.
it makes you gravitate towards those people. And you know, you guys being a staple in the community in Bed-Stuy, you're giving out a lot of great information. And you know, the fact that with your liquor company,
Yeah.
that you guys are promoting, all the black-owned companies, it's a big deal, and that's why your company is doing so well.
Yeah, it's been a nice journey, and definitely to inspire people to get into real estate. And once you're in it and you've been in it for a few years, you just assume everyone knows what you're talking about.
Right.
But there's so many little bits and pieces, and then having this conversation here, even going back to, I'm on Zillow looking at places that are 200,000.
Right.
But just because it's on Zillow for 200,000 doesn't mean that's the price.
Right.
And then
When you get there, you find out that it's something else.
It's something else, and then back to me thinking, do I have to pay a realtor?
Right.
More or less, normally you don't have to pay a realtor,
Right.
especially if you're a first-time home buyer.
Right.
And then even going to the mortgage companies, you're thinking, do I have to pay?
Do you have to pay the mortgage person?
Yeah. So there's all these things, and sometimes you might stay silent about it, but sometimes it takes people to tell, show you the process.
Well, I think the more that you ask about it, the
Yeah.
more that you inquire about it, the more that you learn, the more knowledgeable that you become.
Yep.
Because like you said, your first go around, you were going straight to Chase.
Yes.
And Chase is very one-sided as far as their programs, their approach with everything that they're doing.
Yep.
When you have all these mortgage brokers who may have 5 or 6 or 7 or even 10 different programs, so
Yeah.
whatever your situation is, they can find a bank that fits and place you in the right place.
Absolutely, and that was the difference to get me in. Because at first it was kind of defeating. I'm thinking I'm not going to get in here, but the mortgage broker really just opened up all these different programs, and it allowed me to get getting my feet wet.
Nice. So what are your what are the plans now for you? I guess going forward, the future with your with your real estate and with everything that you guys are doing?
I'm always on. Right now, I'm on the back burner waiting for a nice deal.
Okay.
And there's some that may be coming up. And I think those sort of deals, I always look for maybe two families to flip.
Hmm.
For what I'm doing now, I'm always looking for two families to flip so I can breathe in new money, get some more capital in.
Right.
And then once I get more capital in, I throw it back into either a 3 or 4 family because I like those kind of rent rolls.
Okay.
So that's
those are the ones that you buy and hold.
Yeah,
but the other
I'll
ones you
hold
buy
those,
to
but the
flip.
other ones
Okay.
I'll flip. And that's not to say for other people to flip. I just prefer to flip those because I've got a different.
Well, that's what works for you.
Yeah, that's what works for me. But if I was to do this again now at this time, I'd be looking at areas in Queens or East New York.
Okay.
Because, on the other flip side, I've also been, through the success of real estate, I've had a lot of people reaching out to me saying, how did you get started? How did you do it? And I found myself giving quite a lot of information to people. So I thought, let me get my real estate license.
Right.
And then let me show them what to do.
Right.
And I've gotten a lot of people houses, properties, 2 families and 3 families in the East New York area because they're kind of outpriced in Bed-Stuy.
Bed-Stuy and Bushwick. Because it seems
Bed-Stuy,
like
Bushwick and Crown Heights.
Right. And then everybody started trickling down to East New York.
It is a gold mine. East New York's a gold mine to me.
Right.
The transportation is great.
Right.
It's a little bit rough around the edges, but I give it 10 or 15 years, I bet it's going to be completely different. And then people will be talking about their Bed-Stuy stories about how they got in at 800, how they got in $1 million.
For East New York.
Yeah,
I mean, I lived in East New York back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
I actually anybody that knows East New York, I used to work at the McDonald's on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh, so I've got a place right on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh, see, there you go. So I'm very familiar with it. And like you said, you go back to East New York back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I remember walking to the Chase Bank on Van Sicklin and Linden and seeing dead bodies in between the cars.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
I've seen it all, but then you look at that area now and where the real estate is, and East New York being the next best thing, and it definitely continues to climb as far as numbers are concerned.
And that's again going back to me not knowing East New York.
Right.
I don't have anything. I don't have any reference points to say there was this and there was that. I have people telling me, but it's not the same as you being.
Well, you want to go there and actually see it for yourself because some of the people that are giving you information or trying to give you advice, a lot of them are doing it, unfortunately, because they want to kind of hold you back from trying to progress.
Yes.
And, sometimes you just have to say, like you said, not pay attention to any of it and just continue on your path and your journey.
Yeah, and some of this generally that's their feeling. They've gone through hardships to where it's just that place is bad memories.
Right.
They generally have that feeling. Right. And it might be not anything malice.
Right.
So it's that as well, but it's definitely that's been my advantage. It's kind of the cheat code. I'm fresh. I've got into New York in the 2000s, and I don't have any kind of reference points to the history
of New York prior.
I know it from the movies,
right.
But there's nothing. It's not the same as living it and being it, and that's been my advantage.
Right. So how is real estate in UK compared to New York real estate? As far as like prices and just the different shifts and
the prices are up there. I don't feel like the real estate grows as fast as what I'm seeing in New York.
Right.
They're definitely expensive. Some of them are more expensive way more expensive than New York. But they don't have they don't have the part where you can make money, by having multi-families.
Right.
So it's very expensive. They actually don't have 30-year mortgage loans.
Really?
I think United States is one of. I think North America. I'm not even sure with Canada, but I know United States is one of the only. I do believe is one of the only places where you're afforded 30-year mortgages.
Right.
In the UK, I think it's like you get 2 years, 5 years, and you have to go back to the table and refinance.
And refinance. Really?
Yeah. The interest rates tend to be a lot lower, maybe even like the 2s.
Okay. Well, because they're giving you a shorter period of time to pay.
Yeah. But I've never bought real estate in
the UK.
My sister has, so
right.
She gives me a bit of insight. But it doesn't sound it's not as attractive. But
right.
there definitely is opportunity. But you have to really think outside the box.
Outside the box.
Another place that I have done a bit of real estate is St. Lucia.
Okay.
My wife is from St. Lucia.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And we visit there maybe once or twice a year with the kids.
Right.
Take a time out, and we came across a nice condo in St. Lucia.
Nice.
And it felt like the right move to get a condo there. We can visit. We always staying at a mum's house, but we wanted a place where we've got kids.
You can come and go, right?
Yeah, we can come and go. We know the area, so we purchased a place out in St. Lucia.
Nice.
And we turned that into an Airbnb.
Airbnb. I was just about to ask.
You know what? We closed on that. I would say 1 week before the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah. So I did think, all right, I'm gonna get X, Y, and Z in here. They're gonna pay for the Airbnb. Pandemic happened, and
Shut down the
I
whole
had
world.
I had to eat that one. But I
Wow.
prepared myself in case.
Thank goodness.
And, you know, the rates were, you know, everything was low. It made sense.
Right.
And now it's been great for Airbnb. And I think we'll probably do some more investing later on down the line in on that island as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. So with the Happy Bud store, when you were talking that you guys opened right before the pandemic,
Yeah.
how was it going through that through the pandemic, and I guess all the red tape with trying to get the paperwork and the licenses in place to be able to sell the you know.
Yeah, for the CBD, it was, you know, we were focused so much on getting the residential rentals in first, so secure that in. So we were doing that during the pandemic, but this was now 2021, mid-May 2021, and we're getting started. So it was the pandemic, but things were sort of, people were moving out. We weren't sort of restricted as much.
Right.
And I'm on Craigslist. Loads of people are moving, so we're able to get different types of furniture. We got a whole bar which we use as our registry, you know, our cash register.
Right.
We were able to get a lot of good deals.
Nice.
So I feel like it was just perfect timing.
Right.
Perfect timing to get a sweet deal in real estate. Perfect timing because people were moving everywhere. So people
to be able to get the furniture, you get it for next to nothing.
Out stuff for nothing, or I'm getting stuff that would probably cost me $600. I'm getting it for $10, or just take it, get rid of it. I'm out of it. I'm leaving.
Wow.
So I loved it. I enjoyed it, and we ended up sort of completing that build. We've got it in May, and we kind of wrapped everything up. I would say around September.
Okay.
September for the residential.
Nice.
And November for the retail.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then, you know, whilst you're doing it, you apply for a CBD. It's called a CBD license, CBD hemp license.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a temporary one, which allows us to continue with the store. Right. So we open up in December, and then later on, we end up getting the official CBD license.
Nice.
And, you know, later on, we're looking to get into the cannabis space to where we can actually get in cannabis and get the cannabis license, but that's not open to everyone right now. So
I know that's very limited because that's something that I also have been looking into to try to invest in the business, because you know that's the way, it's the way of the world, it's the future.
Yeah,
so
definitely. And it also, I think it's also a benefit for New York. It's attractive for New York as well to bring in more people to move to New York. For, right. You know, being able to take advantage and get a hold of cannabis. You're not restricted, so I think it's an improvement.
Nice. Okay. As far as sneakers, I see you got the Breads on.
Yes.
Are you a big sneaker guy?
Somewhat.
Okay.
More when I was younger, not so much now. So it's actually a funny story with these sneakers. I've been walking around in that kind of sort of Bill Gates outfit with bummy outfits, bummy sneakers, and my friends saw me with a new pair of sneakers, and I'm like, "Oh, Rem, you got a new pair of sneakers? You got a new pair of sneakers?" Anyway, I'm in a WhatsApp group with a bunch of people from Brooklyn, and I've got for some of my friends from London in there as well.
Right.
And they were like, "Man, Rem, I'm surprised you got a pair of new sneakers, and these are some nice New Balances." So
well, New Balance is making a comeback. New Balance is all over the place.
I liked them, and
they come for the comfort. Yeah.
They got together privately and was like, "Let's get Remo a pair of sneakers."
Really?
Yeah. So it was they kept asking what size, and I thought these guys are asking too many
personal questions.
Right. And they were like, and it was my birthday. My birthday just passed in January.
No, happy belated.
Thank you.
Mine passed 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you, man.
And they put together a fund. They must have cashed out to each other. And my friend Dio organized it and bought me these sneakers.
Nice.
So they, one day they were like, "What are you up to?" And I'm like, I'm busy. I'm doing this. So, well, come and link up with me. Right. So I link up with them, and it ended up being loads of them. And I'm I'm at a pool table, and then they bring out the sneakers.
Nice.
And I felt good. I've never had anyone.
Buy you some, give you some sneakers.
So now I'm swaggy.
And some Jordans at that.
I'm back in the mix.
You're back in the game.
Yeah, I'm back in the game. But
nice.
Some of the sneakers I really used to like, because I used to play a lot of basketball when I was younger. Mm-hmm. The ones that I do remember that I really like was The Questions by Allen Iverson.
Oh, okay.
Back in, I think that was like 96, 95, 96.
Right. Yeah, you got drafted in 96. Yeah,
it was 96. Yeah. I really liked those ones. And then it was another pair. I really like Reebok Classics.
Okay.
I like Nike Air Forces. Okay. Like you guys say Nike. I'm used to saying Nike Air Forces.
Oh, we'll say we call them white on whites, especially the white ones.
Yeah. So
some people say Uptowns.
Yes, it was Uptown. So actually, when I was in Harlem, that was like a uniform.
That was a uniform. That's a fact.
Uniform. Another story. I'm wearing. I've got a pair of these Nike Air Forces, and I'm about to go out with my friends. Mm-hmm. They're all from Harlem. One guy goes, "Brother, you're not coming out with me with those Air Forces because they're all creased
They're
up,
creased.
bent up. Yeah.
They can be creased,
He's
brother.
like, it's not happening. He's like, let me take you uptown to the Heights where he knew one of the guys could give me a fresh pair,
Right.
like 9 p.m., 9 in the evening.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
He
so
had to connect. Okay.
Yeah, so I get them, and from then on, probably every 2 or 3 weeks, I was getting a fresh
Fresh pair.
Yeah. I couldn't
Yeah.
hang with these guys.
You
without
can't.
them.
Well, listen. Number one, you can't hang with Harlem guys with some crusty sneakers. And if you're in Brooklyn all the time, you definitely got to stay fresh.
Yeah, so
because your
shout-
friends will roast you.
Yeah, so shout out to my friend Lionel. He's from Harlem, and he was the one that sort of showed me the ropes on how to get fresh and,
Right.
and hang with these guys in
Right.
Harlem. And then another sneaker that I really liked is not that popular, but remember Latrell Sprewell?
Yeah.
He had a pair of these Converse sneakers that I really liked, and it just felt good for, dunking. I
basketball?
just felt
Oh, okay.
good for moving left to right. The
Nice.
platform was good, so that was another pair that I liked.
Nice.
And the All-Star Converse, I like those. So
Oh, okay. Yeah,
that's
those
my
are dope.
preference. Yeah, that's my preference of sneakers.
Nice. Yeah, with the sneaker thing, like I said, sometimes when you got your head down and you just grinding, you taking care of your business.
It was to
You're
the
not
point-
really paying attention to that, but at the same time, being from Brooklyn or living in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
certain things are just
I have to-
you
I
got
have
to
to-
stay fresh.
I have to. So it was a point to where even people might think they were the same sneakers, but I just keep pressing the rebuy button on Amazon, and I'll
Right.
get another pair of New Balance sent to me, and I was just sticking with these for the.
Listen,
longest.
you can't go wrong with New Balance right now. New Balance is it. They're
Yeah.
all over the place. So they're
So-
making so many different colors now. So once you got New Balance on, you're good.
Yeah. So
And you got the comfort. So
yeah, they're definitely comfortable. So
Nice.
that's where I am with sneakers. But I do like them. I just need someone to point me in the right direction.
okay, no problem. We got you. We got you.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. So, what do you want to tell people about the liquor store again, and about the Happy Buds? How can people get in contact with you or get in contact with the
So
stores?
we have 2 Instagrams for Happy Cork. It's called Happy Cork Brooklyn.
Mhm.
And you can reach out to us on there. And we're located on 51 Buffalo Avenue
Okay.
in Bed-Stuy, and that's between Atlantic Avenue and Herkimer Avenue.
Oh, I know
Not
exactly
only-
where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah, we not only sell liquor and wines, we also do events. So we have a brand new wine tasting room.
Okay.
We also have
How often do you guys do the wine tasting?
we do wine tasting probably once or twice a week.
Okay.
I slowed down a little bit more now because we're going into the summer, but we tend to do it maybe on a Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
And we also have, we have an event space for people to book for events, which we're
Oh,
seeing
nice.
a lot.
Okay.
We're seeing a lot of traction in that especially from, from companies that want to do team building.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We actually had Ernst and Young come over and
Nice.
rent out our space, and they did a sort of, really we put on a nice event for them, tasting wines.
Nice.
It's kind of a good one for community building.
Nice.
And then we also have Happy Buds Brooklyn, that is on the Instagram as Happy Buds Brooklyn, and that's on 225 Malcolm X, and that's between Jefferson and Hancock.
Oh, great location.
And so we've not only got the retail store, we've also got a beautiful basement that is for, we do events,
Nice.
and we also have the back garden to where we do themed events, to where we'll have sort of maybe a puff and paint. We
Nice.
also have tastings there.
Nice.
We also even do we do a kind of like meditation in the back.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We kind of do as much as we can to get the community involved, and
which is cool.
and just feel good. We want as much community involvement as possible, and that's really what's been making me and my wife tick, to where we can
Nice.
get involved with the community and just see people blossom.
You just have to put in the work, folks.
Yeah.
Just like Rem just told you, every single one of us, we get out every day, we put in the work. Yes, you can look at the things that's going on Instagram. A lot of it, more than half of it is fake, but use some of the motivational tools to help motivate yourself. Use some of the people that are speaking motivational things, like the Rems, who, does the real estate, also does the liquor store, the Jude Bernards, the Jermaine Millers. There's a few of them out there. Pay attention to what they're doing, but stay your path, stay the course.
Yep, stay your course, and also, eventually surround yourself with other people in your network that, you hear it from so many people. Surround yourself with other people that have aspirations, that have goals.
Just like you.
Just like you. That's not to say get rid of your other friends, but you need to expand and then pull your other friends into your networks.
It's true.
Bring them up, help
Right.
them out.
Right.
Inspire people. So definitely stay in your lane, focus, put in the hours, put in the work, and eventually you'll see that plant grow. You're going to see the results.
Yes. It's, the day that you plant that seed isn't the day that you're going to eat the fruit.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
So just like Rem said, folks, just stay the course. Again, if you're looking to buy or sell real estate, you can reach out to me. If you're behind on your mortgage, you don't know who to turn to, get in contact with me. I have a bunch of different people that I can put you in contact with. 917-337-3727. We cover Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island. Anything real estate related, you can reach out to me, and I'm sure I can point you in the right direction. Have a great day, folks, and be safe.